Hey guys, welcome back to 25 Sweetpeas. Today we're going to do something a little different. So recently, whenever Zoya released their new Pixie Dust, we had some debate about what the texture was and how did it compare to the older Pixie Dust. So first up today, we are going to compare them. So we have the brand new one, an older one, and another one that was a completely different texture than the other releases. So let's just take a look. First up, we have a look at Ginni, which is a gorgeous pink holographic pixie dust. Then here we have one of the newest additions, which is named Cookie. And lastly, for this part of the video, we have Sunshine, which was actually one of my first pixie dusts ever. So first up, we are going to compare Sunshine, which is ironically a kind of a cloudy sky blue. This one was actually my first pixie dust, and so this is kind of what I always thought of as the pixie dust texture. But as some of you guys have mentioned that the new one looks a little different, so I thought it would just be good to compare all of them. So there is Sunshine, as you can see. It covers great in one coat, and it has a fairly decent grit, not overly textured, but still enough there that you need only actually one coat of top coat to get it like smooth, whereas on the new one you kind of need two. So I would say that this one is a bit less textured than the new ones. So we're going to go ahead and put the new one here in the middle, and this one is called Cookie for you guys who haven't seen this in the original swatch video for the new Jubilee collection. But this one is a deep purple, and as you guys mentioned, and I already said, you guys thought this one was a bit more textured than the original formulas, so I thought we would just compare the three different formulas that I had. So as you can see, that one did go on more textured. You can kind of see more texture on the nail compared to this one over here. This one, the texture is closer together, whereas this one, it is more further apart. Now we're going to go on to the last one, which is over here. And basically how I chose these was I just stood back and looked at all of my Zoya Pixies and picked out the different textures that I noticed. And most often I see this texture and then the one that I'm going to show you, which I don't remember if these had a special name. I actually bought these on clearance because I was never a huge fan of textured polishes, but when these were clearance at Ulta, I kind of had to grab them. Plus I love Imogene, and that one I actually bought whenever it came out because it was just so pretty. But this one is just a completely different type of pixie dust. As you can see, it has big chunky holographic glitters in there and a sheer jelly-like base, so it is completely different ball game than these two. So the texture on the new ones is definitely different from this one. And for this one, I think you guys were right. I do think this one is a smaller grit, whereas this one is kind of deeper on the nail, if that makes any sense. But we're gonna go ahead and do two coats so you guys can also kind of just see how these swatch in general. So Sunshine honestly is covered in one coat, but we're gonna go ahead and see what happens with two coats. And I still find it really funny that this one is called Sunshine, considering it's like the color of a cloudy day sky. So kind of interesting. But there is two coats. It is a really lovely blue. Like I said, that was actually my first pixie dust, and I don't remember why I got it exactly, but it seemed like at that time, every time I went into Ulta, I had to get a Zoya because I never had Zoya before. This was a long time ago. So that was really fun. But now we're going to go ahead and do our second coat of Cookie, and I think you guys can actually really tell the difference. Cookie definitely is more textured than the original formula. However, I mean, that's okay. You just have to do two coats of top coat if you want it smooth. And like you guys already know, this works really, really well with the Leopard Spots top coat. Now let's go ahead and put on our second coat of this one, which I never said its name. This one is called Ginni, by the way. My favorite one of this type of texture is called Imogene, and it's a black, but I figured this would show better on camera. So now this one does need 2 to 3 coats, but we're just going to show 2 here since we're just comparing. But there is your full comparison of the 3 different textures of Pixie Dust that I have in my collection anyway. I don't believe there are really any other variations, but if you guys think you have a different variation or texture, let me know in the comments below, or let everyone else that's reading down there know as well, because I mean that might be helpful to some. So if you want a Pixie Dust that isn't super textured, I'd go with something like Sunshine, whereas if you want super textured, I'd go right here in the middle, which is Cookie. And then if you kind of just want like a glittery polish, I'd go for this one. I don't feel like this is outrageously textured. It's no more textured than like a loaded glitter topper in my opinion. So yeah, there is a little synopsis on these three. Now it's time to play with the new Leopard Spots topper on various different Pixie Dust. So this green one here is called Vespa. This one right here is called Stevie, which is absolutely gorgeous. And lastly for this section, we have Alice. Leopard Spots topper, because you guys mentioned that you guys wanted to see the polish used different ways. So we've got 3 different pixies on. Right here we have one called Stevie. Then here we have one called Vespa, and lastly this one, which is really pretty, might I add, is Alice. So all 3 of these are older releases, but I thought they were light enough that you guys could see what is going to go on top and see what happens. So a few of the different ways mentioned. One way you guys suggested was dotting. So the Leopard Spots topper actually dries way too fast for you to like pour it out onto a surface and use a dotting tool. So what we're going to do for this is we're literally just going to use the brush and kind of make irregular shapes in like a dot format, because it does dry fast. So this would be kind of like a leopard print take on a leopard print topper. That's kind of fun. So now you guys see how easy that was. Granted, I got it on my skin. But there is how that works. And actually that turns out really fun, and that does give a actually kind of more of like a nail art leopard look, because you know how when you do like freehand leopard print, you kind of, where's a little brush here that I can point. Whenever you do like freehand leopard, you kind of make a comma, and then you just kind of put a dot of color in the middle. Here it just gives you that little spotty effect, which actually looks super cool, and I'm really liking that effect. So that was a cool idea. Next up, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna try to just dry brush it, because you know when you do like a fun little abstract mani, maybe you want to do a dry brush method. So what I'm doing now is just making sure I get a lot of the polish off the brush. And I'm just gonna kind of pull it a few different places. And of course I would do that more orderly if this was gonna be for like an abstract manicure. But we're just gonna see what happens there. And it is kind of coming out cool. You really have to get a lot off of your brush. But at the same time, whenever I did it with nothing on the brush, basically, it kind of just doesn't give us much of an effect. But that does work. It is an option. Now, over here, we're just gonna like maybe do some freehand stripes. We're gonna try this with the brush. So this is gonna be interesting. And probably not very good, because who does stripes with the brush? Although I will have to say the brush on this one is kind of flatter than most polish brushes. So that's, oh well, okay, I got carried away there. Just gonna pull it out, and definitely not my favorite look. But it's kind of a different way than doing the other cheetah way. So we're just, actually now we're just gonna cover up the whole nail. But this will kind of make the pattern go in a different way. That gives it a very, how would you explain that look? It's almost camo-like, I guess, texture, which is not something I would ever be after. But it does look a little bit different to going from this side than it does going straight down, because the straight down you definitely get that little leopard print look. However, here it does kind of give it a bigger leopard print look. So, I mean, that's kind of fun and different as well. So there's 3 different ways that we tried it. The dry brush method, I feel like it works. It does. I'm not sure you could really tell that it is a dry brush method per se. Switching the direction of how you paint it on your nail kind of comes out cool. It definitely gives you a thicker blobs and spots, and it just has an overall different feel. And the irregular dots with the just using the brush, I actually really like. I feel like that's super fun, different, and I mean, it just looks kind of cool. So there is 3 different ways beyond just the regular way of using a topper to use the new Leopard Spots topper. So if you guys liked that, let me know. Well guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think it was very fun to compare the different Pixie Dust textures, and then it was fun to just see the Leopard Topper done in different ways. I do think this Leopard Topper behaves the best on the brand new Pixie Dusts because of the more textured finish. However, it still does work on the older ones as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I thought it was kind of fun to do and something different, and I think it just kind of got to give you guys some new ideas, and you guys gave me ideas to try, and I just really enjoyed that. So let me know what you guys thought. Would you guys like to see more videos like this in the future? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye!